So I have been doing a bunch of Blood Angel videos over the last couple of weeks because you guys, of course, have been asking for it. A very popular thing at the moment. So I've given you Death Company Dreadnoughts, Death Company Miniatures, Astaroth, Lamartes, Dante, the Sanguinor, literally all the cool, awesome stuff I've been giving you guys in videos in the last couple of weeks. And all the videos have been doing really well, but there has been a prevalent request in every single one of those videos, and that is to do a normal Blood Angel. Who'd have thunk it? I've already done a normal Blood Angel in my Horus Heresy series, but you guys seem to want another one. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to take an Assault Intercessor miniature. I'm going to upgrade it with all the parts from one of the new Blood Angels upgrades, so it looks really kind of awesome, very Blood Angel. And then I'm going to show you guys how I would paint a Blood Angel to a nice tabletop standard. So if that's something that excites you, stick around, guys, and enjoy this video. Before I get into it though, I just want to do my normal thing and thank all you guys out there for your continued support, whether it's by watching the videos or taking it all the way to the very end and supporting me as a channel member or over on my Patreon. Those last two do actually get an extra video every single week, so if you're hungry for more content, then check those out, linked down in the description below. Without people joining up to that Patreon, I can literally not do what I am doing, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. Okay, let's dive in and get this awesome Blood Angel painted up. Okay, so I've constructed the Assault Intercessor in question. As you can see, I've used all the gubbins that they give you with the new Blood Angels upgrade, Bruce. So he has an Inferno pistol, a beautiful Blood Angels power sword. He has a Blood Angels head with the blood drop on it. I've given him some backpack ornamentation and of course his shoulder pad. This, I believe, really is going to set the tone for the entire Blood Angel model as I go forward. The model was sprayed black and then sprayed a light grey in preparation for painting them all the base coats with contrast. Starting with, of course, Blood Angels red contrast. What else would you use to paint a Blood Angels? And just aim for all the armor panels, leaving out all the kind of quillas and eagles and all those kind of details. Leave them the nice grey colour. If you do hit them with some red, it's totally fine. The colours we're going to be putting over those bits later on are darker, so we'll cover over the red no matter what. I'm just being careful to black it out so I know which areas are to be done in different colours down the way. I do find this stage to be very, very satisfying. I mean, I've had a lot of people talk about the idea that contrast is not like ideal for certain situations. I did a whole video on the correct way to use contrasts last week. I'm a big fan of them. I mean, this is me just base coating the red with contrast. It only takes a couple of minutes to do or less. And it gives you a really nice base coat to build up colors with. Iyanden yellow was then used for the helmet. Now, this is something that is important to know about Blood Angels, and if you do not know anything about Blood Angels and you're only kind of taking your first tentative steps into the world of Blood Angels, they distinguish their battlefield roles by their helmet color. It's a very simple system, but just so you know, not all Blood Angels have red helmets. Red helmets tend to be the standard infantry for the army. Yellow represents assault, so anyone that's supposed to get in close and fight you in kind of hand-to-hand combat or swords are yellow, hence why this guy who's an Assault Intercessor has a yellow helmet. If you are guys with big guns, so you tend to be the stand back with the extra firepower, you are in the Devastator cadre, therefore you have blue helmets, and if you're in command you have gold helmets. So just a very simple tip to know. Just don't go painting all of your helmets red and then realizing that some of them should have been yellow and blue and gold and all sorts. So, bringing in some Black Templar, you've noticed that I'm now blocking in all of the other bits on the miniature. So, all of the in between the armor panels, the big beautiful chest icon, his shoulder icon, the wings on the back of his shoulder pack, and of course all of the weapon casings. I always call them weapon casings. I don't know why that's the right kind of turn of phrase to use. But basically the majority of a pistol is silver, or majority of a bolt gun is silver, but there's a casing over the top of it that goes a certain color. For Blood Angels, that is black. Time for Retributor Armor Gold, and this is where we are going to block in all the details on the miniature that we're going to have a little bit of bling. So the hilt and pommel of the sword. All of the blood drops that are across this miniature. So there is quite a lot of blood drops because we used a bunch of the upgrade parts from the Blood Angels upgrade pack. The center skull in his chest is going to go gold, and then obviously his shoulder icon, back icon, stuff like that. So anywhere you think needs kind of a little bit of gold attention, obviously with this miniature, there's not going to be a crazy amount, but obviously the more elite you get, the more gold is going to appear on it. Lead Belcher is going to be used to block in the last bits of color on the model. So the rest of his Inferno pistol, the blade of his sword, And anything else on this miniature is just supposed to have a little bit of silver. So if you've got a different guy and he's got a, you know, combat blade on his hip or grenades or anything like that, this is where you're going to hit it with the silver detail. So with those applied, we have all of the base coats now on this miniature. And I must say that for just base coats, I think the model looks pretty good. I mean, it's very clean. It's clearly ready to be layered up. I mean, like I said, I use contrast 99% of the time to just apply base coats. It's a very quick and efficient way of applying base coats. It speeds up the painting process of an entire army significantly. And I think if you learn how to use it, you get great results. And I think this is an example of great results on base coats. Now I'm going in and shading the miniature because I intend to obviously shade it down and highlight it up. And some of you may have noticed that I picked a Colia green shade. Why in all hell am I shading red armor with green? Well, it's a complementary color to red, so that means that all the recesses being green is going to be really nice. It's going to darken it down beautifully and give you a really nice base coat for layering up this miniature. You may think I'm crazy, but trust the process. Here it is all. It actually hasn't dried yet. It's just as I've just applied it. And like I said, the model still looks so clean. It's kind of insane. But we are going to go in now and we're going to start the layering process. Now, obviously, this next step is going to be the most time consuming, the most tedious if you don't enjoy it. I happen to enjoy layering Space Marines, so I don't find it tedious. I just kind of enjoy the process. And that is, we have grabbed an Evil Sunz Scarlet and we are going to start layering up the power armor. Now, Evil Sunz Scarlet is not the strongest tone of red paint, so you will require 2 thin coats across all the armor panels to give you that really nice kind of tomatoey red color that Blood Angel armor tends to be. Now, you may be able to hit it with a Mephiston red and then go up into Evil Sunz Scarlet. That may be an easier route. I'm not 100% sure. I really wanted to get that bright, punchy color, so I decided to go for 2 coats of Evil Sunz Scarlet, which is the same amount of coats, Mephiston red, Evil Sunz, or 2 coats of Evil Sunz. Do you know what I mean? It's a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I guess. But I am making sure to leave the gaps in between all the armor and all those kind of lines in the armor nice and dark. I really want to give you that kind of contrast feeling, that really to break apart all the armor panels, and I think it looks amazing. So this is the first coat applied. Some areas of it will not require a second coat, but there's definitely other areas, larger flat panels, that will require a second coat. One of the things that I think is super important to mention when I talk about 2 thin coats of paint is to not try and do the 2 thin coats of paint on the same area at the same time. And by that I mean, don't paint a shin pad and then do a second coat on the shin pad. The first coat needs to be fully dried to set a base tone for the second coat, basically. If you start putting, coat of paint over a half dry, half wet coat of paint, then it's just going to start tearing. You're going to get blotches. It's not what you want at all. Averlin Sunset was then brought in to highlight up that yellow helmet. And just like the red, because yellow was quite a weak tone of paint, there's not a lot of pigment in yellow, you will require 2 thin coats of this as well. And as you can see, I've got a very fine point on my brush. And just like the armor, I'm trying to leave all the gaps, the eye lenses, the little rebreather holes, and all those kind of bits and pieces. And even the line that goes through like the kind of mohawk armor panel bit. You want to leave that line curving up the side of the helmet, nice and dark. This is something that will take practice and a steady hand, but if you do get that right, you do learn how to paint a Space Marine helmet nicely. I promise you, all your Space Marines are going to look nicer for it. He's really starting to come together now. Liberator Gold was then introduced to highlight all of the gold parts on this miniature. You know where all the gold parts are. They're mostly around all of the Blood Angels, Blood Drops, emblems, the sword hilt, the little tassel hanging off his pistol, and any other details. Like if you have a different model, like I said earlier, who's got more gold detail, like a Terminator might have some extra details, then of course you are going to need it for that. But other than that, I think you're all good. Iron Breaker was then used to highlight the metallic parts. So all of the extra parts in the Infernus pistol, the blade on the sword, and then I also use this paint to paint the blood drop itself. So when we're painting the gold on all of the blood drop icons, it's actually just to hit the kind of outside frame of the blood drop. The actual blood drop itself, we are going to paint with silver now to make it nice and bright. so that we can throw a red contrast over it and make it look like a gemstone. Very quick step, very quick technique, but it's going to make all the difference. So that's why you may notice that those bits are now silver. It's the same with his eyes. His eye lenses got painted in with silver as well, so that I could just throw a green contrast. I went for warp lightning in on his eye lens as well, to give him that glowing eye lens techniques thing words. Very quick technique. Like I said, I've done this with Space Marine helmets for forever. All I do is paint in the eye lens in silver and then choose a color of choice, whether it be red, green, blue, whatever, and just drop those in. It's a very quick way of getting it done. Corvus Black was then used to highlight all of the black details, and with that we have a completed Blood Angels Space Marine, a Primaris Assault Intercessor. What can I say other than I really like how it turned out. I would be kind of keen to finish painting and get at least a 5-man squad of these guys painted up and just to have them done, because out of all this kind of Space Marine Chronicles stuff I've done, the Raptor and this guy have stood out the most as really enjoyable, really great results, something that I would quite like to see a larger force of. And who doesn't like Blood Angels? Even if Blood Angels aren't your favorite Space Marine Legion, everybody respects Blood Angels. We all understand that they are just awesome. So yeah, what's the harm in doing a few extra Blood Angels for my personal use? A couple of still images to give you guys an example of what he may look like on the battlefield. I hope you enjoyed this one. And there we have it, guys. Our beautiful Assault Intercessor Blood Angel Sergeant is now finished and ready for the tabletop. I had a lot more fun than I was expecting painting this guy up. As you guys know, I am a Flesh Tears player. That's what my Blood Angels Codex has turned me to, and I will continue building and painting Flesh Tears till the end of time. But this standard Blood Angel miniature turned out really nicely. I'm really pleased with it, and I'm tempted to add a couple of squads in, maybe start a Devastation of Baal army where it just makes a couple of different Blood Angels chapters together. Who knows? Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, do those 3 things you should do to support all creators if you enjoy their stuff. Like the video. If you have anything to ask or any questions or anything like that, put it in the description below, or sorry, put it in the comments below. We will hopefully get back to you. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Those 3 things cost you absolutely nothing, but they mean all the difference in whether our videos reach more people or less people. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one.